Having talked about the primary discussions of the mental health disorder, now we are moving on to the general disorders that a clinician go through when he's dealing children that are belonging to the age group under 5, and then particularly the children that are belonging to the teenage group, that is the adolescent age group primarily. So the normal problems that the clinicians usually face are specifically the sleep problems over here. There are a lot of problems. There's a range of variety that is included in this section in which we are discussing the children under 5, and they are basically ranging from the sleep problems as well as the feeding problems. The weaning and the fadding is basically involved over here. Then we have panic attacks, phobias, attachment disorders are quite commonly observed in children that are basically belonging to the age group of under 5. So this is the normal scenario over here that we are discussing. The attachment problems are, of course, due to the environment that the child faces at home. So the risk factors that are included over here are the environmental factors, as well as it can be the genetic factors. And the history taking again is very important over here. If the child is having sleep problems, he is having nightmares or night terrors, he is sleepwalking, first of all, the reassurance of the parents is very important over here. And secondly, the history taking is very important. You'll get a complete detailed history of the kind of nightmares the child is having. That is basically going to clue us towards the incident that is causing those nightmares or night terrors. If he's been subjected to some sort of a sexual abuse or some sort of a physical abuse or any incident that had severe impact on the memories of that child, subconsciously or consciously, that is going to affect the kind of dreams that a child is having. So all of this reassurance, that the parents basically should be reassured that this is not a problem. The night terrors are basically treated in a different way. The nightmares are treated in a different way. Sleepwalking is treated in a different way. So all of these treatment guidelines will be discussed one by one in this section. Sleep problems, as I've already told you and mentioned the terminologies, they consist of the nightmares, specifically the night terrors and the sleepwalking phenomena. And then we'll be discussing the feeding problems, just an introduction to the general feeding problems that the clinicians usually encompass when they are basically practicing with children under 5 years age group. So the sleep problems that are generally that come up with children in this particular age group are settling to sleep. Then we have nightmares, night terrors, and sleepwalking is also observed in these children that are belonging to this specific age group under 5. Sleep settling phenomena is basically a phenomena in which the parent will basically complain that the child doesn't sleep properly in his or her own bed through the night. So that is the problem that usually occurs. The objectives over here are understanding of the normal sleep physiology in children and adolescents. So reassuring the parents, giving them the awareness about the understanding of the normal sleep physiology is again very important over here. Learn developmentally appropriate behavioral techniques to improve sleep. So all of these techniques should be learned in a way. Sleep hygiene is another terminology that is quite commonly used, and basically there should be a particular routine that should be followed by the parents before sleeping. Giving them anxiety before the sleep time is again very important factor, that they do not go to sleep in an appropriate manner. So the sleep hygiene phenomena should be followed by the parents, and they should be aware of this factor as well. So all of these techniques should be sought into the parents to obtain an understanding of the options in the pharmacotherapy for the pediatric insomnia. So this is a terminology that is quite commonly used. It is known as the pediatric insomnia. Insomnia, as you all know, it's basically the difficulty in sleeping, or sleeplessness is also termed as insomnia. So think about the iatrogenic causes for sleep difficulties. So sometimes there can be some sort of metabolic causes, some sort of iatrogenic causes that can relate to the sleep problems as well. All of these causes and all of these history taking is very important over here, and making the parents aware about the sleep routines and the sleep hygiene, all of these phenomena. The parents should be familiar with all of these terminologies. Sleep problems and nightmares basically encompass when the child is having difficulty settling to sleep and he's responding to the child when he leaves the bedroom, and it reinforces the behavior. So the nightmares are associated with child abuse or accidents, and it gives a vivid account and identifying the causes, for example, bullying. So the nightmares and the account of the nightmares is again very important. As a clinician, you should basically make a rapport with the child and he should give you an account of his or her nightmares. Reassurance of the parents is also very important over here. What are the symptoms? Vivid dreams or nightmares, snoring, choking, or pauses in the breathing, other odd behaviors at night, sleeping in the daytime. Restless leg syndrome is another important condition that is seen in a lot of children as well, and which also causes sleeplessness, unable to sleep at night. So all of these questions should be put forth to the patient, and they should be put forth to the parents as well. So night terrors are usually seen in age group that is 6 to 9 years, and basically what happens over here is that the child is sitting bolt upright while still asleep, and he's appeared to be terrified. So this is known as the night terrors phenomena. It is not the child is not easily awake, and basically the parents should also be educated about this, that they should not try to wake up the child. If awake, they are disoriented and they are difficult to engage. So it is better not to wake the child up and just put him to bed again. So this is the awareness that it should be created in the parents. Sleepwalk in the same age group is again one of the phenomena seen. The child is safe during the sleepwalk. The parents should be reassured about it. The parents should not try waking up the child during the sleep terror. So sleep-wake disorders, they usually consist of the substance-induced disorders. Then we have insomnias, we have the hyper-solemness disorders, narcolepsy, breathing related to sleep disorders, circadian rhythm sleep-wake disorders, non-REM sleep arousal disorders, nightmare disorders, REM sleep behavioral disorders, and then we have the restless leg syndrome. So all of these terminologies are used, and they're just indicating towards the causes that are resulting in the disturbance in the sleep-wake cycle. Then we come across another group of children who have feeding problems. So about 10% of children, they have weaning problems due to cultural, social, and economic reasons. Then there is fattiness that is due to the dislike of the texture and the taste, and they may result in a non-organic failure to thrive as well. The parents' responses to the shape, the parents' responses towards this fattiness or towards this feeding problem is again very important, because it is going to reinforce the behavior in the children. So they should basically ignore the child if he or she is not eating, because the punishment and the reward center is going to be affected when they're basically reacting towards the feeding problems in a child. So in this section, basically, we dealt primarily with the sleep disorders in the children, and then finally with the feeding disorders. So that is the end of this section. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.